And we have taken that guy, that man who was entirely non-religious, and we have turned him into a religion. And I sometimes wonder if Jesus could see the church as it exists today, with its rites and rituals, with its laws and regulations and ceremonies, with its power and its tendency to dominate, with its people dressed up in black robes and purple scarves. And if he would say, "What are you guys doing? What is all of this stuff about? Have you forgotten what is at the core of my message?" And sometimes, having turned Jesus into a religion, we use him as a threat. He came to set us free from fear. But sometimes we say, "You had better believe in him or else." And once threat, intimidation, or domination enter into our faith, it is no longer the faith that Jesus intended. Jesus was unique, but his uniqueness was not in his religiosity. He came to a society that had more religion than you could ever imagine, and he offered an alternative. What was it that made him unique? Sometimes we make the mistake of thinking it was his power or his miracles, but that's not the case. If you read ancient documents, even in the Bible, you'll realize there were people performing miracles all over the place. They had a different way of understanding miracles and a different way of talking about them. What was unique about Jesus and what made him powerful and authentic was not his miracles or his power as we understand it, but rather his love for ordinary, broken, sinful people. What makes him unique are the stories such as the story of Zacchaeus, the corrupted tax collector. And Jesus saying to him, "Come on down from the tree, Zacchaeus. I must come to your house and dine with you today." And the story of the woman caught in adultery, and Jesus' beautiful words, "Whoever is without sin, let him cast the first stone." And the story of his disciples, who were not learned persons, but rather fishermen. And the story of him calling the children to him. And the story of the good shepherd, in which he says, "I have come to be tender and gracious." And even today, when we read those stories, something deep down inside of us says, that is God. That is who the creator of the universe is, revealed in tenderness and grace and compassion for the poor. That is the God who made us. We know that that is a God whom death cannot contain. He is risen. He is alive with us. He is with us. We have seen him. And that's what changed people's lives. That's not a religion. We do not have a religion. What we have is a relationship with the Creator, who is love and grace. We have a relationship that turns us around, and it is the most glorious and beautiful relationship and reality that we could ever imagine. So what a pity that from time to time we turn that into a religious system and a threat and a means by which to domineer or intimidate people. I don't know how we got there. Maybe it was Constantine's fault when he said Christianity is now the state religion. You can't make Christianity the state religion. Maybe it was the fault of the church in the 15th century when they realized there was unlimited money to be made by intimidating people and extorting money out of them in exchange for forgiveness. Whatever it was, here we are, and now we need to ask, what should we be? And what we should be is this: a spirit-filled community within which there is no threat, no intimidation, no power to hurt, simply a Spirit-filled community with the desire to love and forgive and recognize the worth of every human life and celebrate the eternal value of all of our lives, and to act with compassion towards all of humanity, and to have a little less weird religious stuff. I have the hope that if anybody were to come in off the street today, even a person with no background in church whatsoever, that they would understand everything we do here. God should not be so complicated as to make God inaccessible to any person. We need to understand the new life that Jesus offers us in terms of what Jesus said in John 10, "When I give my life away in love, I receive a new life." Or what the Apostle Paul says in Romans 6, the resurrection is not something that happens outside of us or away from us, but within us. When we live for love, then we have already died with Christ and been raised again with him. There is a form of Christianity for religious people. It is based on rules and power and fear. But there's another form of Christianity for non-religious people based on forgiveness and love and hope. There is an understanding of the resurrection of Jesus Christ which makes sense to religious people, an understanding based upon the resuscitation of a corpse from the tomb. But there's another understanding of the resurrection of Jesus Christ which makes sense to non-religious people and makes sense to that which is deepest within us. It is that which recognizes in Christ that love and mercy and grace and compassion are God. And that even when he is dead, we proclaim, death cannot contain him. He is risen. He is alive. He is with us. He will never leave us. We have seen him. We have seen him wherever there is love and grace and mercy. The resurrection happened when non-religious people saw Jesus Christ and said, "He really is God." We believe he is God because he loves the poor. He eats with sinners. He forgives the prostitutes. He laughs with the children. He is tender to the outcasts. He touches the lepers. He weeps with the sad. He brings the good wine to his friend's wedding. He is God. He is God. He is God. And when the religious institutions of the day killed him, those people were broken. But only for a moment. When they reflected upon what he was, a great realization dawned on them. Very simply, death cannot contain him. He is alive. He is risen. He is with us. We have seen him, and he will never die. He will never die. He will never die. The resurrection is not for religious people. All they understand is power and rules and fear. The resurrection is for those who understand what Jesus said in John 10, "In giving my life away in love and compassion to those who are in need, a new life begins for me."